Hello, good morning everyone. So I'm Ryan Fularano and today I will explain to you the parts and function of M16 rifle. So let us know first what is M16 rifle. M16 rifle is a firearm that imparts a spinning motion caused by a spiral grooves out into the inner surface of the barrel, which engage with a projectile on its way to the muzzle movement. This M16 rifle is a basic rifle of the Philippine Army. It was widely used in infantry battalion. It was introduced during the Vietnam War in the late 1960s. So let's start on a flash suppressor, also known as the flash guard, flash eliminator, flash hider, or flash cone. It's a muzzle device attached to the muzzle of a rifle that reduces its visible signature while firing by cooling or dispersing the burning gases and that exit the muzzle, a phenomenon typical of carbine-length weapons. So, for those who are wondering what is flash hider, it is for the common idea that is mainly soldiers to prevent detection so that the enemy doesn't see where the gunfire is coming from. But it's actually more important yourself because in low light conditions, the muzzle flash something like a 5v6 can be blinding. So next is the barrel. Most M16 barrel lengths are between 14.5 inches military M4 barrel and 20 inches classic civilian AR-15. The most widely used civilian barrel is probably the 16-inch one, mainly since the 14.5-inch one is not legal in all states. The barrel represents the ultimate goal of the rifle. It plays a big role in the projectile speed, direction, velocity, and accuracy. So the next is the iron sights are typically composed of two components mounted perpendicularly above the weapons. Bore axis, a rear sight nearer or proximally to the shooter's eye, and the front sight farther forward or distally near the muzzle. The forward sight is a forward protortion that normally is used to align the forward section of the weapon with the rear and its rear sighting device. This also adds accuracy, allowing the shooter to manage well-placed shots. Front sights are usually fixed and rear sights movable so they can be adjusted both for the elevation and the windage. When a bullet is fired, air resistance to its spin will warp its course slightly to the right or left, and gravity will pull it downward, producing a trajectory that will take the bullet below and slightly to the one side of the point at which the gun barrel is looking. Adjusting the sights so that the bullet will strike to the target is called laying the firearm. Next is the handguard. A handguard, also known as the forehand or forearm on firearms, is a barrel shroud specially designed to allow the user to grip the front of the gun. The main function of a handguard is shielding the shooter's hand from the warmth of the barrel while using the gun. Also, accessories can be installed onto aero precision handguard to help with one's shooting. Next is the carry handle. A carrying handle attached to the rear edge of the blade. When set up for use, the carrying handle swung under the chassis to prop it for the easier viewing. The carrying handle was lowered to better position optics of the quick release mount rail. Next is the delta ring. This machine aluminum ring installs on a barrel nut to hold the rear lips of the two-piece handguards in place. The wheel spring and snap ring fit inside it and retain it on the barrel. Metal ring, delta ring, is dedicated for M4, M16 replicas. Its internal fan made from steel is responsible for mounting the outer barrel. Its external part, however, stabilizes the handguard. Next is the magazine. A magazine is an ammunition storage and feeding device for a repeating firearm, either integral within the gun, internal fixed magazine, or extremely attached detachable magazine. The magazine functions by holding several cartridges with itself and sequentially pushing each one into a position where it may be readily loaded into the barrel chamber by the firearm's moving action. The detachable magazine is sometimes colloquially referred to as a clip. Although this is technically inaccurate since a clip is actually a accessory device used to help load ammunition into a magazine. Magazine is a place where bullets are held for a gun or where ammunition is kept in a battleship makes complete sense. Next is the magazine release. The magazine release is a button or paddle style lever on a weapon that when depressed releases the magazine from the weapon. Next is the trigger. A trigger is a mechanism that actuates the function of a ranged weapon such as a firearm, air gun, crossbow, or spear gun. The word may also be used to describe a switch that initiates the operation of other non-shooting devices such as a trap, a power tool, or a quick release. A small amount of energy applied to the trigger leads to the release of much more energy. There are two versions of full auto feature on the M16. For the 3-round burst, this is an cam on the hammer in the fire control that rotates. This cam engage or disengage the disconnector that captures the hammer or lets it fall. As the bolt carrier cycles, this cam turns incrementally after 3 shots have been fired. A different groove in the cam causes the disconnector to engage and captures the hammer. It is the motion of hammer along with the spring on the cam that causes the cam to rotate through the position of fire capture. Next is the auto semi burst selector. The M16 uses a burst 3-way selector with a safe semi and burst position. For the safe position, the 4-way selector works the same as the AR-15. The selector cam contacts the trigger and prevents it from moving. In semi-selector, cam rotates the auto sear away from the hammer, so auto sear will not capture the hammer. The selector cam also contacts the burst right disconnector tail, rocking it out. This prevents movement of the burst cam and reduces the likelihood of getting a less than 3-round burst with the first burst trigger pull. When burst is selected, the selector cam rotates the auto sear into position to capture the hammer. The selector cam also contacts the semi-auto disconnector and locks it out. The burst right disconnector is free to move with the edge and ratchet the burst can 1 to 6 of a turn. Each time the hammer goes forward, every 3/6 of turn, 3 shots or a low spot on the cam allows the burst disconnector to move forward and capture the hammer and the firing sequence if the trigger remaining the rear. Note, the first trigger pull when burst is selected may fire 1, 2, 3 shots depending upon the starting position of the burst cam. But all subsequent trigger pulls with the 3 rounds if the trigger is held to the rear. Also, if you release the trigger quickly, if it is possible to fire less than 3 rounds. If you do fire less than 3 rounds, the trigger next will complete the 3-round burst. For example, if you pull the trigger quickly and fire only 1 round, the next trigger pull will fire no more than 2 rounds. Next is the pistol grip. On a firearm or other tools, a pistol grip is a distinctly produced handle underneath the main mechanism to hold by the user's hand at a more vertical and thus more ergonomic angle, similar to how one would hold a conventional pistol. One of the reasons that pistol style grips are so common in machinery is it is because it is possible to ergonomically position the operating controls for use within minimal hand movement. And for the last is collapsible stock. And for the last, the collapsible stock. Collapsible stock makes your rifle easier to use and the rifle is easier to store when you are traveling. The long bag used to carry a fixed stock rifle is cumbersome, but the small bag used to hold the collapsible stock rifle is much more convenient. The gun does not even look like a firearm when you are carrying to your car or in the field. That's all for the parts and function of M16 rifle. Thank you.